From the Nasdaq market site in Times Square, this is Business Rockstars. I'm Jeanne Yurman, and our guest today is Kim Kaupe. She is the co-founder and CEO of the Superfan company. Nice to see you, Kim.
Nice to see you too. Excited to be here.
So you guys create custom, tangible solutions for fans that they can share in real life and in social media. Tell us more.
It's really focused on fan engagement and how do we get people to promote and share the things that they already are loving. So what are we giving them that's physical or that's experiential that they're going to think, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen or ever done. I have to put this on social media right now and tell all of my friends how amazing this is.
All right, so let's, before we continue in talking about the business, I want to get a sense of how this all came about. I know at a point you were working for Condé Nast in merchandising and promotions, right?
Yes.
Is that kind of what gave you the spark or the idea for this?
I always loved magazines and I always loved content and I loved giving a reader that sort of awesome portal into another world. And so when I met my co-founder who came from a music background, we sort of had this impotence of music and magazines and how we could merge those things together and transport fans into a new experience. And so that was sort of the seedling that has now sprung into, just like a tree, a million different directions. And, you know, it's not so much how we started, which I think is true probably of most businesses. You start out on one road and you take like 5 turns and you end up somewhere totally unexpected, but still wonderful.
So what was the transition like between kind of having the idea for this? And it started off, it had a different name, remind me, it was
Zine Pack. Zine Pack, yeah.
So before you started Zine Pack, you know, what were you were talking to your now co-founder, and how did you guys make that switch? What were some of the first steps?
It was not easy. You know, I feel
Why
like
not?
sometimes when you see these interviews, it's like, yeah, I just woke up one day and then I started this company. It was agony. You know, leaving a corporate job and leaving full time is really scary. And you're leaving the security of a paycheck and healthcare and 401k and all the things. And so we worked as long as we could in corporate, nights, weekends, and we only gave up our corporate jobs when it got to the point that we had to, which I think is different than most founder stories, which is kind of, I had this idea, so I walked in and I quit my job and pursued this idea. I actually think the opposite. I think having an idea is great, and if you have that sort of spark, amazing, but follow it to the fullest extent while you have the security of a paycheck. You know, not everybody is independently wealthy or coming off of multiple startups, so they have a cushion, and being able to work freely on your business while still being able to pay rent is really nice. So I think doing something as a side hustle for as long as possible would be sort of the best learning lesson I have from starting a business.
What was that message, the voice in your head? What was it saying at the point, the tipping point when you just like took the leap?
I think the message was saying that I'm going to try this. I think sometimes everybody thinks that entrepreneurs are really last minute and really passionate. And I actually think most entrepreneurs are very calculated. So for me, I had a whole plan of, okay, if in 3 months, you know, I had enough savings, thank you parents for making me save money. I had enough savings to last 3 months in New York City. And I said, okay, if in 3 months I'm not able to pay my rent, I have to go back to corporate because I'll run out of money, or I'll have to leave New York and move back to Florida where I'm from and, you know, live with my parents, which is fine too. But I was going to run out of money. I was going to have $0 in my bank account. So I had a very distinct plan of, okay, if in 3 months I'm not making money, I have to go back to corporate. And that plan, that sort of action plan, really gave me comfort in starting because I knew what was going to happen if we succeeded, which was obviously I kept doing what I was doing, but I also knew what was going to happen if it failed. And I think having the plan for success is great, but having a plan for failure is also extremely important.
Right, contingency plans all the way around.
Yes.
So before we continue, just give me some examples of the types of products or services you've provided your clients?
We've been able to work with some amazing clients. I feel so lucky.
Give us names.
And we work in a number of silos. So we work on tours. So we had tours out with Shawn Mendes this year, with
Cool.
Phil Collins, with JoJo Siwa. Really exciting, working on VIP packages for all of their fans. So that was really fun. We've worked on album releases for people like Jimmy Buffett and Tracy Lawrence, which is really exciting. Awesome. And we work with festivals like Stagecoach and Lost Lands, and all of these areas. Again, the through thread is they all have super fans. There are super fans of JoJo Siwa, just like there are super fans of Shawn Mendes.
What is the most challenging part of what you're doing?
I think the most challenging part of what I'm doing is continually beating the drum of fan engagement. I think that for better or for worse, social media is not going away anytime soon, and fan experiences are going to become more and more and more important. And so continuing to educate clients or prospective clients that fan engagement is important, and making sure that your fans feel loved and taken care of and excited is going to be what helps you last. That it's not so much about the quick buck or the quick experience, but really what's going to make this person not only come to your tour or buy your album or go to this baseball game now, but what's going to make them come back in 5 years, and focusing in on that.
Right. So there's a huge educational component of what you're doing with your clients.
Absolutely. And I think for most new businesses, there are. I mean, most entrepreneurs, if they're starting something new, there's a total education process about why this sponge is better, or why this process is better, or why solar is better. You know, there's a constant education process about why they should be picking you or focusing on what you offer.
I know on your website, there's actually a series of really great information through your blog.
Yeah.
And so anybody who's watching, who's either a current or aspiring entrepreneur, can go there and find some really cool info. Of the topics, I noticed that scaling is something that you've talked about more than once on your blog and elsewhere. What kind of wisdom can you share about scaling?
I think scaling for me really continues to come when I ask for help. I think that so much of entrepreneurship is done in a silo, and you're by yourself and you're working late and eating pizza and doing all the things that you forget to ask for help. And the people around you, whether that's your friends and family or what that's a wider entrepreneurial or founder community that you've found, most likely not only want to help you, but might have been through the same thing. So I find when scaling, asking things like, hey, I need to move from this sort of accounting structure to this one because it's not, or this email provider to this one. And asking those questions is really beneficial. And that's why I've started to become more and more vocal on LinkedIn and Instagram and my blog and social media, because I think that when we find that help, when we find that information of, oh, wow, they're going through the same thing, or, oh, wow, they went through that same pothole, then you can avoid the pothole. But if we all don't talk about the potholes that we've fallen in, then everyone thinks that they're alone in the problems, and you're not alone. And there are so many people that probably have the same exact problem as you, and they've already solved it. So I joke all the time, but it's like, copy somebody else's homework. There's been an entrepreneur that's been there before you, like, copy their homework.
Yeah, it's cheating that's okay, right?
It's cheating that's okay.
Well, you're reminding me of something that I learned when I was doing a little bit of homework ahead of this, that you have a circle of fellow female entrepreneurs that you make a point of getting together with. Tell us about that.
I find it so helpful to get together with other female entrepreneurs. I love my male ones too, but especially the female ones, because I think we go through a very unique experience, not only being a smaller portion of the people in the room. I always say that if you put 100 founders in the room, you know, it's not going to be 50 women and 50 men. I wish it were. It's just not. It's more like 10 women and 90 men. So I think getting together with those females and saying, how did you go through this? Or how did you think about this? And then also, you know, I like to talk about the messy and the hard things, but being a female is definitely different when it comes to kids, when it comes to family planning, when it comes to taking maternity leave. You know, guys don't have to think about that, unfortunately, as much as we do. And so I'm 34 years old now. It's something that is very common that I'm dealing with and coming up with. And it's how do you balance both? And I find that getting together with other female founders and really digging into the messy, not so great conversations has actually been so helpful for me.
We were talking off camera
Yeah.
about when you are CEO, when you're a founder, you're always on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were talking about how to manage that. What would you share about that kind of always on thing that comes with the territory of being a founder CEO?
I would say to find the pockets for you that you can unapologetically be off. Whether that's people that you can be around. It's funny. My biggest thing is who can I be in sweatpants in front of? You know, of course you have those friends that you're like, yeah, we can go to dinner, we can hang out, but it's like, who can I go to dinner with and wear my sweatpants? You know, who can I be off around and feel really good about it, or be in a space? And so I say that you have to be on. That's sort of, it comes with the territory, unfortunately, but finding the space for you of what off means and then leaning into that, whether it's one day a week or 2 afternoons or whatever it is really, really important. Find what helps you relax and turn off.
Right. So really just honoring that, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And unapologetically.
Yeah.
Right? Like, take a nap and don't feel bad about it. And go to that spin class at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday. Yes, you should be working, but you know what? That's what's going to give you that hour for yourself. And let's be honest, you're going to work for 5 hours from the couch when you get home anyways. So, you know, it's as an entrepreneur, your schedule is also not 9 to 5. And I think turning off that 9 to 5 brain is also really helpful, because there are times where, yeah, I'm going to a yoga class at 4 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, and people might think that that's weird, but at the same time, they don't realize that all day Saturday I worked because we had a client event. So your schedule's a little bit more funky than maybe a more traditional corporate one.
All right. Last question for you is, what do you love? What never gets old about leading a company, building a company, leading a company?
I think what never gets old for me is team wins. I have the most amazing team. I would literally go to bat for any one of them. And I think we work so well together. And I think when we set goals and accomplish them, that is just the euphoria that I strive for. It makes me so excited. It makes me passionate to go in every day. And there's something, succeeding on your own is awesome, and setting personal goals is awesome, but there's something about succeeding as a team or succeeding in a group setting that for me makes it much more fulfilling.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Kim, thank you so much. If people want to learn more about you and the Superfan company, where would they go?
We are all over social media, and I'm all over social media. So we're at thesuperfancompany.com or kimkalp.com. All my socials, I'm Kim Kalp, and the Superfan Company, same thing. So we'd love to connect.
Okay, and that's spelled Kaupe.
Yes, I always tell people that if you're looking on Instagram, you start to type in Kim Kardashian, Kimka, and I'm like the Kim K with her clothes on.
Got it.
Not with her clothes off. So that's how you can differentiate.
That's great. All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
We've been speaking with Kim Kaupe. She is the co-founder and CEO of the Superfan Company. From the Nasdaq market site, this is Business Rockstars.